The NLCS is set, and the Brewers were one of two teams during the regular season to have swept the Dodgers in 6, joining the Angels. The overall numbers in the series might mask the fact that 5 of the 6 games were decided by 2 runs or fewer, and we should also mention, for those games, the Dodgers were without Roki Sasaki, Blake Snell, Kike Hernandez, Max Muncy. This is a healthy Dodgers team. Give me a big picture, 30,000-foot takeaway for this series.
This is the best record. Brewers had 97 wins against the best team, and they're the best team because, like you said, Matt, they're the healthiest. But don't take the Brewers lightly. This is a great team. They've had the best record for a reason. They have an incredible coach, Pat Murphy, who was a college coach, runs like a college atmosphere. And, Matty, you know that you spent a lot of time in this building. One of the loudest, most exciting, best baseball atmospheres in all of baseball.
You had the Brewer with the best record in the National League competing against probably the best team in the National League, which is the Los Angeles Dodgers. I would say this. You had the combination of Ohtani and Freddie Freeman, 4 for 33 with 13 points out. I'm sorry, people in Los Angeles, but these two monsters don't wake up, you guys are not going to see the World Series.
Well, I think what's important is there was the stat that was on the board, 6-0 against the Dodgers this year. Now, I'm sure that means absolutely nothing to the Dodgers. Because, look, they're a playoff-tested team. They've won the World Series. They're able to forget about what happened to the regular season. But it means a lot in that Milwaukee Brewers clubhouse because they have confidence playing against the Dodgers. They got over their postseason hump. This first time they've won a postseason series since 2018. They are a well-rounded team, and they will give the Dodgers some problems.
And look, they're not going to try to go out slug them. They're going to do the little things. They're going to play contact. They're going to hit and run. They're going to hit behind runners. And in that ballpark, they can't hit the ball out of the ballpark, but expect them to do everything. Deaths by 1,000 cuts.
Well, that said, the Dodgers are sizable favorites in this series, which kicks off tomorrow.
Really looking forward to this one. The Dodgers are looking to get something back from the Brewers, who won all 6 head-to-head meetings between these two teams in the regular season. It was over a short stretch, middle of the year, but it was 6-0 Brewers. For more on this series, we check in with Abby Mlb'S.
Paul, you and I both know, covering teams in series, that ahead of a game one, we're always asking these teams how they plan to set the tone. Now, setting the tone is not uncommon for this Brewers squad that is coming off of a series against the Cubs where both teams combined for 22 first-inning runs. Now, when Dave Roberts was asked about how to approach this Milwaukee team with the momentum that they're riding right now, here's what he had to say.
The main thing, which obviously you've got to play to put yourself in this position, is get a lead. When you have a lead, their aggression is more tempered. And when the wind's at their back, they're very aggressive. And so I think the thing is that if you can get a lead, put a little bit of pressure on them, they're a little bit more conservative. But if not, Murph's going to be aggressive, and the hit and runs, the first to thirds, the stolen bases, and all that kind of stuff.
Now get this, guys. The Dodgers have plated just 1 run throughout the first inning in the postseason, but in the regular season, it was a different story. They actually led the National League in first inning runs and home runs. As far as how they're going to combat that Brewers offense, they've got Blake Snell starting on the mound. Paul, yonder?
Abby, thank you very much. Let's talk about the season series, because it was right in the middle of the year. Dodgers weren't playing their best brand of baseball. They didn't have a full roster of guys that they wanted, and the Brewers were in a stretch where they wouldn't lose for about 6
during
weeks.
that stretch, I think they went 2-10. The only thing that concerns me about that board is the pitching. The pitching and the bullpen. Milwaukee's pitching and bullpen has been stellar in the postseason. They were stellar throughout the year. The Dodgers' offense for me right now, I've always said this, it doesn't matter how good your offense is, good pitching is going to beat good offense. They do have a bunch of guys that can get it done for them. It doesn't have to be the Shohei Ohtanis or the Mookie Betts or the Freddie Freemans. It could be the Kike Hernandez of Will Smiths of the world and Teoscar Hernandez of the world as well. They went 10-14 in July.
Major League Baseball, but Seattle takes game 1. MLB tonight presented by Strauss. Paul Severino yonder, Alonso, 1-0 Seattle.
So I think
and this could have gone a number of different ways with the way the game started. George Springer lead off home run, and then that was it.
And Toronto, that was pretty much it. The Milwaukee Brewers pitching and that bullpen. bullpen.
Yeah, you'd love to add these four guys to your roster, which the Dodgers did not have in that stretch. But they will have Blake Snell, who dealt with that left shoulder inflammation. They'll have him for game one. And for a guy in Blake Snell, who already has 2 Cy Young awards, I think, Yonder, you could make the case he's more of a pitcher now than he's ever been.
No question about it. Look, this guy's got 2 Cy Youngs, like you mentioned, only 1 complete game. Only 1 complete game. However, this guy is an absolute dog. Yeah. And this guy has pitched like a dog. He's got Cy Young, the way he's pitching right now, all over it. This guy has been tremendous. The one thing I see from him, though, right now is the amount of whiffs he's getting. This guy's a complete different pitcher. This guy's not a thrower anymore. He's not going to just say, I think my fastball's better than your swing, and I'm just going to throw it right down the middle. This is not who he is. And look, his last start in Philadelphia, I thought he was awesome. And it was all about count leverage. I think when you look at Blake Snell and the count leverage that he does and how he works with it, it's just tremendous. Again, he's not just a fastball guy. But take a look at this. 0-0 counts. He's been tremendous with it. He's in the zone more than he's ever been throughout his career. But look where these pitches are at. They're all dotted on the line. This is not just swing mode. These are hitters that love swinging on the first pitch, and yet they needed to take. How about 2-0, though? You think you're going to get a fastball? Not so much. This guy loves throwing his curveball. He loves throwing his changeup more than 50% of the time 2-0, and then he'll knock you out with that fastball once he get even in the count. But this is a guy 2-0. You're just not going to get a fastball or a cookie. All right, so you're thinking, if I'm winning a count 3-2, that's supposed to be hitter's leverage count. You're going to get a fastball. This guy likes walking guys. He's done it before. Not so much now. You're going to get the changeup. You're going to get the curveball. It's going to be nasty again with that slider. But then he'll put you away. He feels like you're on the changeup or on the curveball. He'll climb the ladder at 96, 97. I'm telling you, this is the best I've seen Blake Snell. It's been awesome to watch. He's not scared of just pitching backwards, but he understands he's still got 97, and it's very hard to hit. This guy is an absolute weapon, and they're ace. I know they've got a bunch of guys right now that you can consider aces, but Blake Snell's the ace of the Dodgers.
And by hitting his spots and hitting the edges, he's seen a rise in chase percentage, which has kept him from those 4-inning, 95-pitch outings.
Well, that's the problem, is that when you're just a thrower, hitters start eliminating pitches. And when you can't line your curveball, you can't line your changeup, then all of a sudden I'm really eliminating you into a one-pitch guy, which is the fastball. And if your fastball gets barreled a few times, you're going to kind of run away from that strike zone a bit. But this case and this year, it hasn't been the case.
Yeah, I'm looking right now. Brewers still have a TBD as of right now for game 1. What do you
What else is new, though?
Yeah, right, no.
You know, Murph has done that all the time. You know, one thing he knows is what he's going to have for breakfast. Those are those pocket pancakes. Other than that, he doesn't know who he's going to throw.
Anything after 7:45 in the morning, it's all out there. But again, it's interesting when you talk about the bullpen games, because in July or August or whatever, in a 3-game series, it's one thing. But over a 7-game series, we know the importance of seeing relievers 3 and 4 times. Do you get concerned that the Brewers opening themselves up
it's
for that?
It's incredibly concerning, because I think when you look at the stats the third time through that you've seen a bullpen guy, the stats are in the favor of an offense. And that's the only thing that concerns me in a 7-game, not so much in a 5, because you can kind of hide, you can kind of punt depending how the games go. However, in a 7-game, I think it's more of a concern for me. I think Pat Murphy's going to know what to do with these arms and where in the order you want to put their high-end leverage guys. Look, we saw it today in the game, right? Seattle Mariners used 3 guys. That's all they used. They got length from their starters. Although the other side, Toronto, they used 5 guys. They used Hoffman in the 9th. Could that come and bite them later on in the series? We shall wait and see. However, you want to stay away from these high leverage guys as much as you can, depending on where they're at in the order, because they can come down and haunt you later on in the series.
All right. Well, let's hear from some parties involved, including Blake Snell.
It's a really good lineup. I'm not falling for the average Joes that they're not. I never once thought, I mean, they got the best record in the NL. They're a really good team.
You know, they're back to playing, you know, the way they play. I think we're in a much better spot, you know, just as far as on the health side, on the position player side, on the pitching side, and we're playing better. So, yeah, it should be a great series.
I'm just proud as hell of those guys, and I don't underestimate them. You can't look on paper and say how many of our position players would be on the Dodgers team. You can't really project that many of them would, but somehow they find a way.
We got a good good locker room who believes in themselves, and that's the most important thing. And so going into tomorrow's game, just worried about tomorrow's game, and not thinking about yesterday or the next day, just thinking about playing the game and winning every pitch.
Away on MLB Network on Monday. All right, so this is amazing. The most recent World Series titles among the 4 teams that are left. We know about the Dodgers. They're trying to become the first back-to-back winner since the Yankees won 3 in a row, 98, 99, 2000. Blue Jays won back-to-back 92, 93. Mariners have never been there, and the Brewers have never won one.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ring shopping, but you're going to go ring designing.
Oh, yes.
So if these 4 teams win, what is that jewelry going to look like, my creative friend Yonder Alonso?
Well, let's go with the Brewers.
Yeah.
And the first one I would do is you got to put a little Bob Uecker in there, right? They're playing right now like with Bob Uecker over them. And I would think they're going to have a saying, they're going to have a note, they're going to have something, obviously what they did in the postseason, but definitely something with Bob Uecker style.
I like it. I like it. Because I have jewelry that has actually Mr. Belvedere on it, but now the guy from the show is going to be on yours. That's nice. All right, let's go Dodgers here. There's a few Hollywood stars to choose from.
The Dodgers is simple, right? Back-to-back champs. I mean, are you kidding me? It hasn't been done in a long, long time. So I would think the Dodgers are going to have something where it says back-to-back. Big ring for sure. A lot of diamonds. Double the amount of diamonds because you went back-to-back. So, yeah, give me the Dodgers on a back-to-back ring. It's going to be huge. It's going to be phenomenal. I can't wait to see it if they do win.
Yeah, and again,
if they do win.
You got to go back.
I'm not saying they're going to win.
To that Yankee team that they won in 96, then 98, 99, 2000. Of course, lost in 2001, got back in 2003. That was a heck of a run, but it hasn't been done across the sport since then. Dodgers trying to do that. Now, if you think the Dodgers ring is going to be big, I'm curious what you think a Mariners ring would look like.
Have you ever been to that